He was very much a believer in God, but he was very much against Christianity. And one of the reasons was how much Christians trusted the Bible. And he said his argument was that if you trust the Bible, you're trusting a man and not God.
Mm-hmm. It looks like we are finally back on the air. We've got rid of our technical difficulties, so people that have been watching and wondering what the heck happened and why all of a sudden we appeared, because we're supposed to be here. And there was a little technical glitch, and we did continue with our show as though we really were going out. The show can be seen in its entirety when it is posted on the Pennsylvania Nonbelievers website. This is the Free Thought Forum, December 10th edition, 2013. And brought to you by the friendly folks at Pennsylvania Nonbelievers. And to repeat, I'm your host, Doug Diggens, and my co-host...
Hi, I'm Jacob Zentichko.
And we'll now sort of try to pick up where we left off. Like I said, the show actually is being recorded on DVD and will be available in its entirety probably in a couple of weeks on the Pennsylvania Nonbelievers website. So, where did we leave off?
We're just talking about the immensity of the universe and perhaps God. Or
you were talking about Thomas Paine.
The last statement I made was Thomas Paine once made the argument that Christians who believe the Bible are actually believing a man rather than God.
Mm-hmm. But we really believe that is the case. People will ask us, what do you believe in? If you say that you're a non-believer, what do you believe in? You say, well, basically, we believe in everything that you do, in goodness and family and everything. We just believe in one less God than you do.
Well, I think I like the way one person phrased it, where his argument was, it's okay, something along the lines, it's okay to have beliefs, but it's not okay to have faith. Where people portray faith as a virtue, but, whatever we believe is not based in faith, it's based in reason and evidence. And I think that's the big difference.
Well, we like to call, ourselves people with reason, reasonable people.
Yeah.
Now, I am quite sure that amongst the millions of non-believers that are out there, there may be some not so nice people like that. We all know, but one thing you do have to keep in mind, if you talk about evil people, and they say, "Oh, you atheists,
right,
you're evil." Yet, if you look at the federal and state prison systems, only 2% or less of all the people that are in prison are atheist. The other 98% are all various religions. Probably about half of them are Christians. They keep their little cross around their neck, or they have a Jesus tattooed on their hand or their arm or their chest. Yet they've just gone out and committed some horrible crime, shot some guy in a 7-Eleven store while he was robbing him just because he didn't get the money out fast enough. But then they say, "Oh yes, I'm a good Christian. You know, Jesus will forgive me for this." Well, don't worry about Jesus forgive you.
There's also, I mean, it's not just crime rates, but there's also things like abortion and divorce rates. There's no correlation either way.
Mm-hmm.
And if there is one, it's negatively against religion.
So, I mean, what you have to do is you have to be willing to look at your own beliefs. Really, if you say that you are a Christian, if you are afraid to look outside of the Christian religion, if you're afraid to say, well, what if, and what about, and you know, this part of the Bible contradicts that part of the Bible, then you never really learn about your own religion. You've got that faith thing, which doesn't buy you anything, really.
Right. I mean, and coming from a religious background, I can completely understand. I totally empathize with those afraid to question, because when you get raised from a young early age that hell is something real and everything is presented as a fact, and there's something wrong with you if you don't believe it. It's hard to break out of that and start questioning. So it's not like we're here to say that religious are stupid. No, they're very intelligent. There's intelligent religious people, absolutely.
Yeah, and
we don't mean to sit here and insult their intelligence, but it is hard to break through the faith and really start to question.
I guess you could say that the main irritation of atheists and non-believers in general, because there's just various kinds of non-belief there, but the irritation is that all religions, and mostly Christian religion, all want to convert everyone else.
Right.
You know, they've you couldn't turn around to a real Christian and say, "Oh no, I'm an atheist. I enjoy it," or "I am a Jew." They want to convert you. They want to have you to take Jesus Christ as your personal Savior.
Right.
And I'll say, well, wait a minute here. I'm not forcing you to say that all religion is foolish. Why do you want to cram your religion down my throat? And I think that if the Christians, especially, would just sort of like cease and desist from trying to force everyone to be Christian.
It's, I mean, being in America, that's the way it is, but in other countries, it's very different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're in a Muslim country, you have to deal with the same thing with Muslims, only much more threats of violence in those countries.
Violence and death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much what Christianity was doing 500 years ago. But
well, time marches on, you know.
What's that? I
said time marches on.
Yeah.
Like that, and
if you realize that Christianity had a 700-year head start, it's, you know, you look at the way Islam has developed, it's almost mirroring how Christianity developed.
Well, I mean, just the way that Islam has changed since the time of Muhammad. I saw an interesting program on, I think it was PBS, called The Life of Muhammad, and it was a 3-episode series that basically took you through the life of Muhammad. Now, I realize, of course, that there's probably, various interpretations and various books that have been written, and they all will have a slightly different flavor to it. But if you look at what Muhammad did, he really actually accomplished quite a lot in his time. And the only thing is that shortly after he died, I think it's somewhere around about 633 AD, all of a sudden his faithful followers think, well, okay, he said this, but we can change a little here, and we change a little there, till right now you look at Islam, and half of it is radical as hell, and the other half are the people that saying, whoa, wait a minute, we just want to be left in peace, we just want to worship our God, we want to have the name of Muhammad respected. Yet the other half, like you said...
well, I think a lot of people don't realize how that there are a lot of different denominations of Islam as there are Christianity. Most people don't realize the stark differences between the denominations in Christianity, which is part of the reason they don't see the divisions in Islam either. But they are definitely there, and in some in some Muslim countries, there is a lot of infighting among Muslims themselves. Very much mirrors the Catholic Protestant wars of the Middle Ages.
And even what is it? The Sunnis and the
Sunni and Shiite. You mean?
Shiites. They're one of the basic arguments is who is like a direct descendant of Muhammad. But it's as you say, Christians, whether you call yourself Catholic or you call yourself Protestant, you are still a Christian. So why is everyone fighting amongst themselves? And so now the Muslim countries, they have to fight each other, but they also have to fight the big old evil United States because of what they think that we represent.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because actually the same thing sort of happened in Mormonism as well, where you had those who wanted to follow the descendants of Joseph Smith and those who followed Brigham Young, and even they had a brief war with the American government. Actually, that's one book I want to check out, is talking about Mormons and how there was actually shooting artillery at each other at one point. And it's just amazing how you look at the parallels, not only in the origins of religion, but how they take off after that looks frighteningly similar almost every time. There's always divisions, there's always wars, and so on.
Yeah, I mean, it's religion really has, it really is feudal. Everyone is at one another, and there's, even if they have this group right here, group X, and they move away from this primary religion, they say, okay, this is what we're going to follow because we don't agree with the original one, so we feel that we are right, and we believe in X, Y, and Z. And they pull away and they separate, and then before you can shake a stick, the same group is turning around and saying, well, now, wait a minute here. Now, I believe in X and Y, but a few of us here don't believe in Z, so maybe we should form our own group.
Right. And it keeps sharding and sharding. It really looks like an evolutionary tree of life when you look at the divisions of religion, with some adapting to various circumstances. And I remember the one time I made a comment, which is actually how I ended up coming out to my parents, was I showed a picture of all the diverging denominations of Christianity, and I said, this is why saying under God, indivisible is pretty much a contradiction in terms.
Yes. Yeah, very true, because it's not hardly indivisible.
Yes.
And in fact, it's very highly divisible. I mean, even now, with in our, I guess you could say, the holiday season.
Right.
Okay. I mean, you would think that even though the month of December isn't necessarily all a Christian celebration.
Right.
Like that, wouldn't you think that at least the people of the world would give it a rest?
Yeah.
For a month, just stop killing each other, stop killing the other people over here, and just you don't have to love them, you don't have to put your arms around them, say all is forgiven. You just don't have to kill them today.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up, because that's exactly what happened in World War I with the Christmas truce.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the things that, even though even if you don't believe in God, it's possible to appreciate Christmas, and that's part of one of the reasons I appreciate it, because it was able to bring World War I to a stop. Originally it was only supposed to last one day.
Yeah.
But in several spots along the front, the soldiers actually went out and greeted each other. And one place they actually played a soccer match, and they gave everybody pause to go, and the soldiers pretty much say, what are we doing out here?
Yeah.
And realizing that the other side might be people they know, and some places didn't go back to fighting for several days, and when they did, it was mostly officers who were forced to start the fighting again.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's almost a contradiction in terms, but there was almost some honor, if you want, in the killing back during like World War.
Yeah, I admit that.
Right.
Like, I'm not protesting that.
I don't think there's really any honor in shooting someplace else, and shooting someone else. But I mean, it used to be customary for when they had the bi-wing planes, that if you shot down an enemy in his plane, behind enemy lines, that the enemy would, like the Germans or the English or whatever was fighting, they would actually gather up his belongings, his boots, and his hat, and everything, and there was some way that they would come and approach the lines, and whether they rocked their plane or whatever it was, but they would drop the pilot's belongings out on the enemy line, so the people could pick them up. They're sort of acknowledging the guy's death and everything. Now, I don't care what anyone says, that I think most war is stupid.
Well, as Robert E. Lee said it as well, that war is so terrible lest we grow fond of it.
Mm-hmm. And the saying that I hate too, that I like too, is that hatred is like old leather. The longer you wear it, the more comfortable it becomes. Like that. And look at Northern Ireland. And all the hatred that's been going on there for so long, Protestants against Catholics.
As the old joke goes, even if you're an atheist there, they ask, are you a Protestant or a Catholic atheist?
Yes. So anyway, as you can, you've well imagined, if you've ever gone out lately to the malls, and you've seen all the traffic that's out there. This, of course, is the holiday season, and more than anything, it's the shopping season. And on next week's, or the next show, which will be on Christmas Eve, we're going to have a little bit of footage, their video that we've taken from shopping malls around the area, and just what people go through during the holiday season. You know, you got to buy the gift for Aunt Sue, and then you remember that on Christmas Eve that you forgot Uncle Frank. You know, and it's absolutely totally crazy, but it's so much easier if you really are a non-believer. You don't have nearly as many people that you want to buy gifts for. And you don't feel like you have to give a gift on Christmas Day. Now, American Atheists, which is one of our premier organizations, they had a sort of a feeling about Christmas, and they put up a billboard in Times Square in New York City, and it created a little bit of a stir. Why don't you put it up on the screen, if you would? Okay. Nobody. Now let's run that again. I see, that's what really Christmas means. One more time. Here. Now, there's the actual billboard. Now, obviously that really irritated a lot of people, but yes, who really needs Christ in Christmas?
Yeah, personally, I really loved it because we're often portrayed as the bad guys for either celebrating Christmas without the religion, or it's always the war on Christmas and such. I just love how unapologetic that billboard is about it. It's like, yes, we're going to do it without the religion, and we're not going to apologize for it. Right
on Times Square, one of the busiest intersections in the world, and they paid for it, and they put the thing up, and that's been on an awful lot of news broadcasts, and a lot of anchormen and people like some of the guys from Fox. My mind just went blank, but
Bill O'Reilly, of course.
Bill O'Reilly, and there you go.
Of course, I think Sarah Palin gave a speech at Liberty University recently about it.
Yeah, we're stealing Christmas. We're taking the Christ out of Christmas. Well, someone should.
As Penn Jillette was famously said, Christ has as much to do with Christmas as French fries are French.
And when you start talking to him, it is Christ's Mass. Okay? and they say, well, why don't you believe in Jesus? Well, okay, wait a minute here. Yeah, I'll believe, if you want, that Jesus was a real person. Probably he was an itinerant preacher who said some really good things and marched throughout the Middle East trying to convert his people. But Christ, he was not.
Right.
When you say Jesus Christ, he said, no, it was Jesus. In our opinion, Jesus was not Christ. Right. He was just portrayed as a really good man. I mean, even the Muslim religions recognize Jesus as a prophet.
Yeah, prophet.
But none of them say, yes, oh yeah, he was the Son of God. I mean, right. that Son of God was what got him executed, really, for blasphemy.
Right. And, well, it should also be noted that the whole idea of Christ being born on December 25th didn't enter Christianity for several hundred years. Mm-hmm. And actually, I think, you know, my appreciation for Christmas has grown over the years as I learn more about it, where all the little traditions come from. And as far as I can tell, most of them are positive traditions. You know, you either celebrating the passing of the winter solstice, looking forward to the next year. I mean, even mistletoe was used as a sign of peace for several places. I mean, even the Christmas tree itself has almost gone as much unchanged as Christmas itself.
It's Yule there. But I mean, it was originally started off as almost paganistic. And one of the original saviors, that was also born on December the 25th, long before Jesus, was someone called Mithra. And Mithra was supposed to be, son of a god. He was born of a Virgin Mary. He was born in a cave. Wise men traveled to see him. You go and check off every single thing that they attribute to Jesus, and it was 500 years beforehand the same story was being said about Mithra. And you've got to question, well, wait a minute, isn't that kind of a coincidence?
Well, yeah, especially since it wasn't even mentioned in any of the epistles or in the Gospel of Mark. Mm-hmm. So it's actually, scholars aren't really sure when the idea of virgin birth even entered Christianity. Mm-hmm. It wasn't mentioned at all until Matthew, and when he did, it seems to be a misinterpretation of Isaiah 7, which wasn't even a messianic prophecy to begin with. So shedding all of that, realizing that it is more pagan in origin. Well, it is exactly pagan in origin. And actually, I think the idea of the passing of the winter solstice and then celebrating the days getting longer, I think personally that is what led into the dying and rising God idea. Mm-hmm. And that's why you put the birth there, it's that's when things are being reborn.
Yeah. Well, the solstice really are times of renewal,
right?
Like that, where things are changing, and that to me is worth celebrating because we can see the solstice happening, and we see it all around. Everyone says, "Oh no, that's just God's work." Well, whether you believe it's God's work or not, you can see the seasons changing, the length of time between day and night. Mm-hmm. And so, do atheists celebrate solstice, the summer solstice or the winter solstice? yes and no. We celebrate at the time of solstice because it's as good a time as any to have a party, open up a beers, be with friends and family, and
there's nothing wrong with tradition if there's nothing wrong with the tradition itself.
Yeah, and it's a repeatable date, and there's to non-believers there's absolutely nothing, zero thing religious about solstice, or nothing to do with the devil or devil worship or anything. That's, it's time of change, and I think that's what we really need in our life. We need a fresh look at everything. I think that mankind sometimes tends to be a little on the stale side. We think we want to embrace the past all the time. Not there's anything wrong with it, but sooner or later you've got to step into the future, or at least step into the present.
Right. I mean, it's always a good time to do it, and coming towards the end of the year is always the best time to do it. And to just kind of go on another point you made, I really like what I was listening to the Thinking Atheist podcast the other night, and one thing Matt Delahunty said at the end of it was, celebrate what you want, when you want it, whatever you want to call it. Enjoy your life. And it was such a great quote. I mean, no one had anything to say after that, because that's pretty much sums it up. I don't care what you call the holiday or why you celebrate it. As long as it's for something positive, enjoy it. Enjoy your life.
And you're not, no matter what religion you are, or you claim to be, or what you practice or follow, like that, you're not going to be dragged to hell,
right?
Because and you're friendly with an atheist,
right?
And I think that's a big problem with a lot of, especially Christian people. They think that just knowing us is going to cause them to go to this hell that someone invented.
I don't think it's so much as that as they just feel they feel they're being persecuted. I think why they're fighting this is they want to feel persecuted. Is what I think it's about. Not so much they're going to go to hell for accepting it, but I think it's more of an issue of persecution. Which, I mean, I look at it and go, I think it's, why public Christmas displays should be secular is because there are so many different ways to celebrate this time of year. We shouldn't be locked into one. I mean, I made the comment on somebody else's page where they said they were talking about how, like, elementary school choirs they have a limit on how many Christian Christmas carols they can sing. And somebody was complaining, and I just said, what, some people have to go to churches to listen to that now? It's like,
good point.
We're not trying to restrict what anybody celebrates. We're more or less, be careful what you throw on public land it's just that's all this any argument about it is about Christmas displays are about, is the fact they're on public land displaying, and endorsing one way of celebrating it over another.
Yeah, well, I'm not a humbug,
right.
At least a total humbug. And if I'm any place and someone says to me, "Hey, Merry Christmas,"
I don't have
I don't say thanks.
I call it Christmas.
Happy holidays to you too. And
if you want to be inclusive and say happy holidays, or if you're just mostly around Christians, I don't mind saying Merry Christmas either.
Yeah,
it's like whatever you want to call it. You know.
There are some atheists out there, individuals, that don't necessarily represent any organization or any group of atheists who tend to be humbug on this subject. But really, damn it, it's the holiday season. Try being nice to people, and if someone says hello to you or Merry Christmas, they don't know if you're atheist. They're just trying to be friendly like that, and they're trying to enhance the Christmas spirit or the holiday season. So it's not, to me, it's not a gross insult for someone as an atheist to say Merry Christmas to me,
I don't, it's not one of those words I nitpick over. And then sometimes when we fight over definitions sometimes, but I think this is one of those cases, it's not something to fight, It's, people call it Christmas, fine. I don't have a problem calling it Christmas.
No. And sometimes just joking around, if someone will say, "Oh, Merry Christmas to you," and I'll turn around back to them and say, "Happy Hanukkah to you too." They just kind of look at me and smile. And they don't know if I'm being a smart ass, which I am, or I'm serious about the Hanukkah thing. No, I'm not Jewish like that. But make people smile. A little bit of kindness goes a long way. We're kind of winding down a little on the time here. I just want to tell you that the next show that we have is actually scheduled for Christmas Eve or Xmas Eve, December the 24th, and even though we're non-believers, no one really wants to work on that day and put on a show for it. So what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and pre-record a show. We're going to have a little more video in there. We're going to show you, what atheists do during the holiday seasons. Some of the parties that we go to. A little bit of video from shopping malls and stuff like that, and a little bit of a history of celebrations during the month of December. And plus or minus a few days. So if you expect to see us live on Christmas Eve, your expectations are too high. However, we'll get on back here. Have you got anything else you'd like to touch on in the last
I think minutes? I'll have to move quickly through this. But one thing I also wanted to talk about was last month was Skepticon, which, if you don't know what that is, it's the largest free atheist convention in the United States, and actually the world for that matter, held everywhere in Springfield, Missouri. And you can find their web address is www.skepticon.org, and the YouTube channel listed below, Hambone Productions, is actually where they post all those different speeches. So and it's really a lot of great content at that channel from the last 6 years of Skepticon. And just some of the speeches from this year, there was David Fitzgerald, who talked about biblical morality. And what I loved about what he did was he didn't go for the obvious stuff. He went for things you may not have known about, or maybe just glossed over at, not really realizing what it meant. Seth Andrews was also there, of the Thinking Atheist, giving this pretty much the same speech he gave in Philadelphia. So if you missed it or want to see it again, it's on that channel. Also, Shelley Segal was there, giving a musical performance like she did in Philadelphia. Aaron Ra, the picture you're seeing right now at his channel, he actually gave a really fascinating speech about the evolution of dinosaurs to birds. But on the Skepticon video, he was recovering from illness and had some technical difficulties. So he actually redid the speech and posted it to his own channel at Aaron Ra. So I would definitely check that out, because he really tackles a lot of the misconceptions about the evolution of dinosaurs to birds, like one of the real obvious ones, which was everyone thinking that everything old is a dinosaur, when no, you still had mammals, pterosaurs, dinosaurs, archosaurs, all these different things. P.Z. Myers gave his speech on the Cambrian explosion, debunking a lot of claims about that. One kind of interesting one was by Richard Carrier, answering the question whether or not philosophy was stupid. That was the speech, was, is philosophy stupid? And he really gives an informative speech about philosophy. But I mean, there are a couple other smaller speeches. Some of these people I actually didn't know, but one of the things that Skepticon actually does is they will allocate time to up-and-coming, lesser-known people. Like a few years ago, David Fitzgerald was relatively unknown, and then he got up there and gave a really funny speech about the Mormons, which is still on the channel, on the Hambron Productions channel, and he's really grown in popularity since then. I hope we can get him up to Pennsylvania sometime.
Now, you see, this kind of gives you the idea, listening to this, that maybe every atheist is really into science, is hell-bent on science. Well, no, that's not necessarily true. I would say a very large percentage of atheists, non-believers, are into science and get a great deal of pleasure out of examining the world around us as, you know, part of a scientific experiment, because science can be repeated. Scientific experiments, whereas religion remains the same forever. Nothing ever changes, and you know the world around us is totally changing all the time. So we're going to wish you a happy holidays, super solstice, and you'll come back again now, you hear?
As again, the next show will be pre-recorded for December 24th.
And say good night.